And welcome to Technology Tap. I'm Professor J. Rod. In this episode, managing support procedures inside the modern help desk. Let's tap in. Welcome to Technology Tap. I'm Professor J. Rod. For those of you who don't know me, I am a professor of cybersecurity, and I love helping students pass their CompTIA A+, Network Plus, Security Plus, and Tech Plus. So if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Professor J. Rod, on TikTok at Professor J. Rod, on LinkedIn. I have my LinkedIn profile on my website, professorjrod.com. And I'm on YouTube at Technology Tap. And if you want to buy me a coffee, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Professor J. Rod. Welcome to today's episode of Technology Tap, where we deep dive into the beating heart of IT support, managing support procedures. This will help you with help desk processes or preparing students for real-world workflows. Understanding documentation, professional communication, and operating system fundamentals is key. Today, we'll unpack standard operating procedures, service level agreements, ticketing workflows, support documentation, and the professional behaviors that separate good technicians from great ones. Let's begin with one of the pillars of IT success, documentation. Standard operating procedures. A standard operating procedures is a step-by-step instructions set that guides how a task should be performed. Why does it matter? SOPs reduce guesswork. They ensure that every technician, junior or senior, follows the same predictable process. Example: imagine a new hire on a help desk ticket. On a help desk, they get a ticket. Users cannot log into Windows 11 workstation. An SOP for user login issues might include verify network connectivity, attempt domain login with admin credentials, check account lockout status in Active Directory, reset password if necessary, and document resolution in the ticket. Without an SOP, steps vary widely from tech to tech, causing inconsistencies and delays. Service level agreements. SLAs define expectations, response times, and responsibilities between the service provider and the customer. Key SLA concept, the rule of nines. Your deck mentions the uptime expectation known as the rule of nines. 5 nines. Only 5 minutes of downtime, 5.2 seconds, 2 minutes of downtime per year. 8 nines, only 315 milliseconds of downtime. Real world example. A hospital may require 99.9999% uptime for electronic health records. Anything less could delay access to critical patient staff. SLL could also define how quickly a ticket gets response, escalation time limits, performance metrics, and penalties for non-compliance. Incident and ticketing system. Ticketing is the lifeblood of technical support. Everything flows through the ticket. Definitions. Request. A user asks for something new, like software installation. Incident. Something is broken. Printer is offline. Problem. A pattern of incidents requiring deeper investigations. Severity levels. Critical. System-wide outage. Major. Large functional impact. Minor. Single user convenience. Ticket escalation tiers. Tier 0, self-service, knowledge-based. Tier 1, frontline agents. Tier 2, more experienced tech. Tier 3, engineers, developers, and vendor support. Here's an example of a ticket lifestyle. 1. User submits VPN disconnects every 10 minutes. 2. Tier 1 checks known issues. 3. Logs indicate repetitive authentication failure, escalate to Tier 2. 4. Tier 2 finds an expired certificate, escalates externally to vendor. 5. Certificate updated, issue resolved. 6. Technician documents details for lesson learned. Ticketing system may also maintain progress notes, diagnostic steps taken, who worked on it and when, and final resolution. Knowledge base and support documentation. A knowledge base is a searchable repository of troubleshooting guides, known issues, policies, step-by-step procedures, and tips contributed by senior techs. This creates institutional memory, so issues solved once can be solved again faster. Example: a network printer repeatedly disappears from Windows devices. A knowledge base article might include registry key fix, correct driver version, screenshot path to reinstall, notes from a previous incidents. When a junior tech encounters this issue again, they'll fix it in 2 minutes instead of 45. Lessons learned. After major incidents, IT departments create an after-action reports that turn chaos into clarity. Example: a major email outage is traced back to a misconfigured DNS record. Lesson learned may include tightening change control processes, mandatory peer review, and updated SOP. This is how organizations evolve into a mature IT environment. 6. Policy documentation. 2 key documents. Acceptable use policy defines what user can and cannot do on company systems. Example restrictions. No unauthorized software, no access to inappropriate content, no connecting personal devices to secure network. Splash screens. Many organizations display a login warning reminding users that activity may be monitored. Next, professional support processes. Professional technician must follow structural procedures. Document service hours, examine repair and replacement options, follow up with customers, meet expectations. Technicians are ambassadors of the IT department. Next, professional conduct and appearances. What separates an amateur tech from a professional? Key behaviors. Arrive on time, avoid personal phone use, ask permission before accessing data, use clear and simple language, avoid jargon, be culturally sensitive. Example: when repairing a workstation, a technician should not read through personal folders, open emails, comment on private photos visible on the screen. Professionalism protects both the client and the organization. And that's a big one for me, is getting there on time. Like, I'm a big believer in, they're paying you, get there on time and be there on time for your job. Nowadays, we have, there's no punch card systems for a lot of companies. A lot of times, you scan through the turnstile that you have, but most companies don't have a punch-in system like they did back in the late 80s, early 90s. You were expected to be at your desk. You're an adult. You're expected to be at your desk at 9 o'clock. Like when I worked for a nonprofit, there was no punch time. There was, in the 90s, there was, you expected to be there at 9 o'clock, and they trusted you to be there at 9 o'clock. That's plain and simple. Believe me, they know when you're late. Like, these, for you younger folks, that you say, oh, nobody knows, to see me when I come in late. Believe me, they see you. You may not know it. They may not tell you now, but they see you. Go for promotion and see if you get it. You're probably not going to get it if you're coming in late every day, because they know, even though they might not tell you, they know that you're coming in late. So I worked at jobs where I worked there when I was there at 6:30 in the morning. I had to get there. That was my shift, 6:30 to 3, and I was there every day at 6:30. Take pride in what you do. This is my advice to people who hate their jobs, right? You hate your job. Oh, I hate my job. And you want to quit, but the job market's not that great. How about this? Try doing your job better, right? Take that little effort to make it a little better, And if maybe by doing it a little bit better, maybe you get a little bit more enjoyment out of it, right? And that'll let you stay a little longer, or the waiting until you get another job makes it a little better. And you might be a better employee, to be honest. Next, active listening and communicating. Active listening skills include maintain eye contact, nod, and acknowledge. Don't interrupt. Repeat back your understanding. Example, user states, the computer freezes every time I open Excel. Tech, so the issue happens specifically when launching Excel, correct? This confirms understanding and builds trust. Yeah, but it also might piss the person off. You didn't hear me? I just said Excel. Next, clarifying questions. Use open-ended questions first. Can you walk me through what happened before the crash? Use closed-ended questions to confirm. Did this start after the Office update? The structured questioning shortens troubleshooting time. Handling difficult situations. Customers may be frustrated, angry, confused, having a bad day. Your job? Remain calm. Do not argue. Do not deny the problem. Do not take complaints personally, which is extremely hard to do, and seek a supervisor if abuse escalates. Example, a user yells because their presentation won't open. The technician calmly responds, let's tackle this together. I understand this is urgent. De-escalation is a critical help desk skill. And I agree it is, but I also have, when it says don't take, this is, of course, this is all coming from CompTIA, right? This stuff that I'm reading out loud. But don't let anybody disrespect you either. Like, they can yell at you or yell at the computer or be a little frustrated. And to be honest, most people will apologize later on if they're rude, especially to the tech. But when they cross that line is when I take things personal. And, you shouldn't let anybody try to intimidate you or bully you, because if they talk to you bad once, they'll talk to you bad again. You need to find a way to cut that out. So, social media warnings. Do not post customer experience online. Even vague references can violate policy. A simple tweet like, another user today deleted all their files again, could expose the company to lawsuits. And I just cannot understand why in the year 2025, people are still getting fired because of what they post on social media. Man, just don't post anything about work. I don't get it. Like, people still getting fired over postings. Just don't say anything. Take the old term or the old adage. If you don't have something good to say, don't say it. People still getting fired over posting stuff on social media. It's incredible that this is still happening. Like, come on, guys. Stop posting stuff that you don't need. All right, next. Operating system types and compatibility. Windows, Mac OS, Unix, Linux, ChromeOS. Windows, common in businesses, versions 11, Server 2019 to 2025, strong enterprise management tools. Mac OS, Apple exclusive, popular in education and graphic design. Unix, foundation for many OS architectures, uses a shell and a kernel. Linux, open source, many distributions like Ubuntu, Fedora, Kali, standard releases versus rolling releases. Chrome OS is web-focused, lightweight OS for Chromebooks, excellent for schools, I think, in my opinion. They do a really good job, those Chromebooks. Example, real-world mix. A college campus might use Windows for administrative offices, Mac for digital medias, Linux servers for web hosting, and Chromebooks for student loaner cards. Mobile OS, iOS and Android. iOS runs on Apple hardware, very controlled ecosystem, is great security model. They are really great for as far as security is concerned. And Android open source runs on many hardware platforms and highly customizable. Now, the one thing is iOS does not have a mobile management system, a mobile device management system. They use JAMF, JAMF. Google uses the Google Workspace, which works really well for the Chromebooks. Really excellent, I find, in my opinion. JAMF works pretty good too, but I'm surprised that Apple doesn't have its own. File systems. Windows file systems. NTFS, journaling, permission, and shadow copies. ReFS, enhanced integrity for servers. FAT32 and exFAT, legacy and removable media. Linux file systems, you have the X extended 4 and XFS. Mac file systems, you have the Apple filing system, APFS. Why it matters? File systems, choice effects for security, performance, device compatibility, and maximum file size. OS compatibility and limitations, hardware compatible examples. Windows 11 requires TPM 2.0. Older machines without the TPM chips cannot upgrade. Software compatibility, applications are often OS specific. A Mac OS may not run on Windows without virtualization or emulation. Network compatibility, changes to the OS or file system configuration may require retraining. And vendor lifecycle limits, when operating systems reach the end of life, security updates stop, like Windows 10 did. It stopped in October, I think 14th of 2025. So if you're still using Windows 10, why? Organizations must plan migration proactively. All right, that will do for the lesson. Now we're on to the 4 questions, the CompTIA 4 questions. Now, for those of you who don't know, you can use these for the winter break, right? We're in December 2025. So winter break is coming up soon, and I have created, not only do I have these 4 questions, but I also have a lesson planned for this chapter. So if you're an educator or you're a student, you can go to my website, professorjrod.com/downloads, look for the specific episode, and if you click on it, you see a whole worksheet. If you're an educator, you're a teacher, and if you want, your students can work, you could assign them homework off, have them listen to the podcast and then do work off the worksheet and then hand it in. So that could be a good, it's a nice, simple assignment that they can do over winter break. That way, they still have their, they're still not lost once they come back. Because, 2-3 weeks vacation, you could still retain stuff, have it refreshed in your memory. And if you're studying for the A+ exam, you can also use this, right, as a refresher. Do these lessons I've put out. This will be the 4th one. I'm going to do this going forward. I'm going to try to do some of the earlier ones. But yeah, so we'll do that. Try to help educators, right, like myself, have their students pass their CompTIA exam. All right, let's do the 4 questions, and this is how we do it. I read the questions first, and then I give you the 4 choices, and then I read it again, and I'll give you the answer. All right, question number 1. Which document describes a step-by-step procedures for recurring IT issues? A, SLA, B, SOP, C, AUP, or D, lessons learned? Which document describes a step-by-step procedures for recurring IT task? A, SLA, B, SOP, C, AUP, or D, lessons learned? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is B, SOP. SOPs contain detailed task instructions. SOP, standard operating procedure. SLA, remember, service level agreement. And AUP is the policy that you have at work, right? So I'm drawing a blank at what it is. All right, number 2, a customer becomes verbally abusive during troubleshooting. What should the technician do first? A, hang up immediately. B, tell the customer to calm down. C, remain professional and attempt to de-escalate. D, post anonymously about it online. Or E, punch the customer in the face. No, there's no E. I'll read it again. A customer becomes verbally abusive during troubleshooting. What should the technician do first? A, hang up immediately. B, tell the customer to calm down. C, remain professional and attempt to de-escalate. And D, post anonymously about it online. I'll give you 5 seconds. Think about it. AUP is I forgot. Wow, I just had it in my hand. All right, 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the correct answer is C. Remain professional and attempt to de-escalate. De-escalation is the first step unless the threats escalate. And then what do you do? I had one guy in one of my first jobs. I went to do, here I am telling people not to put on social media, and here I am telling a story. But this is a long time ago. So AUP is acceptable use policy. That's what it is. Just came to my head. So I was work at this place where I had to, put some expenses out, and I would get reimbursed via petty cash. So I called the guy's secretary, and she told me, go back in an hour. And an hour later, come back, and then I'll call back, and she says, call back in an hour. But I can sense that I was annoying her, right? But she was telling me to call back. And the third time she said, oh, come up. And when I went upstairs, the guy gave it to me. Like, he literally cursed me out. This has to be 91, 92. Granted, I'm like 20 years old, right? And so I need every dollar that's there that I had. I needed it, right? And that's one thing I don't think he understood. So he cursed me out, like literally cursed me out, like really, really loud. I didn't say anything because it's not always a good idea to, when you go back and forth with somebody who's angry, it never turns out good. It's always better to wait later till the person calms down. I get up, the next day I get to work super early. This was a regular 9 to 5. I think I get there at 7:30 because my boss got there at 7 o'clock. And I go to my boss and I tell him, hey, listen, we didn't have an HR department. So if you had a problem, you had to go to the Department of Labor to complain. And I told him I'm going to file a complaint with the Department of Labor, New York State, because he cursed me out. And I said, I'm a grown man. I don't think that's fair. And my boss looked at me, the look of shock. I still see the look on his face. And he told me, okay, he goes, you can do that if you want, but I want you to do me a favor. Can you hold off for a couple of days? Let me talk to him first. And my boss went and talked to him, and the guy actually apologized. And he never did it again to me. I know he did it to other people, but he never did it again to me. And then when I would go up to his office to get the petty cash, he would say, oh, you can't curse around him. He's very sensitive. And I'm like, I'm not sensitive. I didn't care that he said that because I knew that I earned his respect. I knew he wasn't going to bully me around anymore. So, sometimes you can do things for customer is one thing. You probably won't ever see that customer again. But a coworker, that's an entirely different thing. You got to be careful. Don't let people disrespect you because then they're always going to disrespect you. So, and if you get fired, you get fired. I mean, what are you going to do? You either work there and just put up with that, right? Or now I had another incident where a guy was mad at the team. My supervisor was in at the meeting, and he started using curse words at us. And I waited for him to calm down and the meeting to end. And then I went up to him and I'm like, hey, what's up with this? You calling us this bad word? And he was like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, like you just like cursed us out and said this word that we're all this word. And he goes, oh, why, is that a problem? And I'm like, yeah, it's a problem. I'm like, why don't you call me that outside? Let's go outside and you can call me that word. And I said, and I'll guarantee you, it's going to be a different result than what just happened here. We could go outside and you could call me that word and you could see what's going to happen. He's like, are you trying to threaten me? Like, I'm not threatening you. I'm just saying, we can go outside. Let's go outside, me and you. You tell me that word again. And then you see that it's going to be way different than the reaction that I'm having now. He goes, oh, I'm going to report you that you're threatening me. I said, go ahead. And I went to my supervisor and I told him what happened. And he ended up calling my supervisor. And my supervisor said, okay, you want to report him? You can. But remember, you cursed the whole crew out. He has witnesses that you cursed them out, and he just asked you about it. So you want to report him, that's fine. But just know, hey, he's going to report you also that you cursed out the whole crew. So the guy backed down. So again, don't let people disrespect you. That's my only thing. Because if they disrespect you once, they're going to disrespect you always. All right. Number 3, which file systems would a technician most likely use on a large-scale Windows Server environment requiring data integrity? A, FAT32, B, APFS, C, ReFS, D, extended 4. Which file systems would a technician most likely use on a large-scale Windows Server environment requiring data integrity? A, FAT32, B, APFS, C, ReFS, D, extended 4. Give you 5 seconds to think about it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Correct answer is C. ReFS is designed for resilient, scalable server storage. So the answer is C. All right. Question 4. A user's laptop cannot upgrade to Windows 11. The most likely cause is A, unsupported GPU, B, missing TPM 2.0, C, wrong file systems, D, no local admin rights. Again, a user's laptop cannot be upgraded to Windows 11. The most likely cause is A, unsupported GPU, B, missing TPM 2.0, C, wrong file systems, and D, no local admin rights. Give you 5 seconds to think about it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is B, missing TPM 2.0. We discussed it earlier in the chapter, right? All right, hopefully you got 4 out of 4. And if you did, you're well on your way to passing the CompTIA exam. Very good. Again, I want to remind those educators that if you go to my website, professorjrod.com, you will see a student worksheet packet for the winter recess that I've created just for you guys, so you can give out to your students, have the students listen to the podcast, and then do the work on the student worksheet. And that will do it for today's episode. To remind you, we have 2 more episodes left, and then we ourselves here at Technology Tap will go on hiatus for 2 weeks for vacation. So just if this is the last episode you listen to at the year, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And remember, keep tapping into technology. This has been a presentation of Little Cha Cha Productions, art by Sarah, music by Joe Kim. We're now part of the Pod Match Network. You can follow me at TikTok at Professor JRod, that's JROD, or you can email me at ProfessorJRod, JROD, at gmail.com.